little story that must be told. Here's a little story that must be told. Here's a little story. Here's a little story.
My name is Ishmael Butler. I'm also known as Butterfly from Digable Planets, and I also Shabazz Palaces as well. I'm from the Central District in Seattle, 30th and Cherry. Actually 30th and Columbia, but a block off Cherry is my neighborhood. When I was little, there was only 3 channels on the television: CBS, ABC, and NBC. You feel me? So it wasn't like this whole plethora of just like endless amounts of entertainment. So music was prevalent. It was as high of a prioritized entertainment as television was, just because you really have more musical choices than you did television choices, really. So, and my parents didn't really covet like sitting around watching TV for the kids and stuff like that. So we had music. Music was the thing. Record players, radios, and 8-track tapes. You feel me? Nobody played music in my family, so I was the first to play. My father bought me a saxophone, and I actually studied jazz saxophone and classical saxophone under Mr. Irvin, Wadey Irvin, who was at Meany Middle School. He's the music teacher. He actually came up to Seattle at the same time as Mr. Acox did, who's also from Louisiana. They came up here for the opportunity to get a job teaching music. So, I learned under Mr. Irvin at Meany Middle School, saxophone. I loved it. My father, he liked saxophone players. He was interested in the saxophone, so I wanted to like impress him, you know what I mean? And fortunately, he was right about introducing me to music as something that was going to be a lifelong interest. He must have seen something in me that made him be like, I'm going to make him get on this thing because he got some predisposition to be interested in it in the first place. So even though I didn't stay with the sax, it definitely set me a sail, you feel me, into my musical journey. And Mr. Irvin being my teacher was instrumental as well. You know, Garfield, because of where it is located geographically in the city, it, always was it's located on a thoroughfare and between another thoroughfare. Its proximity to downtown and the lake, and also the concentration of African Americans that was able to buy a house in that area and sort of raise their kids. You got people coming from all over the South, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, all coming sort of up here at a certain period of time to explore and start a new life and try to explore these new opportunities that was coming in this Northwest frontier, So the people that came up here are very courageous, curious, outgoing, brave-hearted people that came up here and settled down. So all of us being their offspring, we had that genetic streak in us of those kind of characteristics and those associated with it. So Garfield being a center for that, I think was fortunate to have a sort of catchment to have all type of kids that were bright, creative, and also was being encouraged by their family members to explore life and to be the most that they could be. So I think it was just like, because it was represented the community, it was just live like that, I didn't play music in high school. I got into sports in high school. I played basketball at Garfield High School. I played at Meany. I played at Miller Community Center. I was a formidable basketball player, for sure. I started to do it probably because everybody else was doing it. It was a way to get outside and stay outside. And then I realized, oh, shit, I'm I can do this. I got some level of acumen at it, and then I started probably going from there. And before I got to high school, the Emerald Street Boys was the main ones that everybody knew in the hood. You feel me? That's who everybody knew. As well as Mix-a-Lot, because Mix-a-Lot lived in Bryan Manor, which is down the street from the Boys Club. And he used to throw parties at the Boys Club, playing his own original music and stuff like that. I went to Garfield. The Pupettes dance team, which had a yearly competition called Bubbling Brown Sugar, would go and get their music custom made by Sir Mix-a-Lot for the competition. So Emerald Street Boys and Mix, to me, are the ones that when I was a kid, I was just, like, damn, they really doing it. You know what I mean? They were the ones that made us youngins be like, oh, we can do that here. We could be from here and make that happen. So I would like to mention that, them guys. The Last Poets was around in the early 70s, and they was basically rapping, My pop had those records, and I heard Jalil rap, Hustlers Convention, On the Subway, True Blues, all that stuff is when I first heard people just like straight talking, and I paid attention to it. Once like Rapper's Delight and Breaking came out, and then you had like, you would catch it on different little things, maybe a magazine cover, or the news might have said it, or Night Flight showed a video or something like. But once it was out, all the kids knew around the country. You know what I'm saying? It was the major seduction of all youth was hip hop. Everybody was gonna know about it, get involved, and so yeah, I knew about it. Everybody knew, like it was a cultural phenomenon. You feel me?
Was it something you wanted to be a part of initially?
No question. Everybody did.
Why?
Well, the main thing was that New York itself was like a mythological place. The music that came out of there, the culture that came out of there was like, it was like looking at sci-fi or something, magic, And then when you really got there, it actually topped any imagination you could have because it was that real, it was that crazy, it was that exciting, it was that stimulating, you feel me? I had been going since a kid just because my pop was an East Coast guy and we had family in there, so I would always go and come as a kid and in the summer times. And yeah, it was like, it occupied all of my time. It was to get back there, The culture, you go to Harlem and it's like, you got Puerto Ricans, you got blacks. It's like very crowded, more so crowded than any other place you've seen. People walking everywhere, all hours, day and night, music playing, festivals, all type of colorful people. Like, it's a frenetic energy that's in the air, that's palpable, like you feel it because of all the energies, all of these people concentrated in a single place, moving and grooving at the same time. So New York's always been the place where you go to see if you're really supposed to be doing what it is you think you want to do. So I went from Garfield High School to the University of Massachusetts in Amherst to play basketball. At the same time, I always had rap dreams. I did a demo tape. I went to New York. I got a job as an intern at a label called Sleeping Bag Records. In my mind, this was going to be my way to get into the music business. I basically was a mailman and a runner for a record label, delivering packages and shit, taking white labels to DJs at clubs at night, just basically the music hustle. It was young hip-hop days, days of all the independent early labels. I went to New York and like basically worked my way into like figuring out how to get a record deal and stuff like that. Like I just went to New York and jumped in the game. You had to feel like you was original. You had to feel like you was different because it wasn't really a copycat industry at the time. It was very difficult to like sound like somebody else because Back then, it'd be like, oh, we already got that. What you got? Give me something else. So, yeah, you had to think you had some new, and we did, new ideas, new ways of approaching this thing. But it was really all instinct and desire. If you got the instinct and the desire, that's like a byproduct of it, is getting where you're supposed to be, and who you're supposed to be around. Because every day you wake up with a blind dedication to accomplish something, and so everything that is in your path is related to that.
What were you trying to accomplish, do you think, early on?
Getting a video. It was like an impossible Rubicon that you had to cross. Like you had to solve some kind of crazy problem to like be able to like get a video and then for it to be out, like seen on one of the shows. Like what? It was rare. It was a rare thing to. That's why at that time, having that dream of being in the music business, people would just be like, "Come on, bro! Like, what are you talking about? That's not gonna happen for you." And they were right. It was like very rare. The amount of rejection, or let's just say people didn't want to partner up with what you had going. So you just got to keep shaking and baking, you know what I'm saying, until you find, like you said, the people that's going to rock with you. And then the rare opportunity that they got some resources that's going to help both of y'all get to some other level. Like that ain't no everyday thing, and it's not entitled to nobody either, Just doing like rap battles and like open mics and like showcases and stuff like that, at little spots, like a diner that's turning itself into a club at night after hours. So it's like the stage is really like the table in the corner, the corner table, you know what I mean? They set it up little, a lot of DJing just like in front of the DJ booth with a mic and like, but everybody's there because the DJs is going to be playing hip hop. Everybody want to come hear hip hop. It's the peak of the wave, so a lot of events that's saying that's what they doing is well attended. But it was magic though, you feel me? Like real magic happening. Because of the energies of the people, the newness, the concoctions that was being made was fostering a culture that you see what it did. You feel me? It's still the foundation of everything that we got going on culturally, from film to dance to fashion to music to politics. It was made and invented and forged at a certain period of time in a certain place. And that was New York in the late 80s and early 90s. That was, the beginning of life and adulthood for me, you know what I mean? So I just was like, all right, I'm going to go. So it was like, that's what I wanted to do, so that's what I went and did. Even though I was doing all of the music and stuff like that, it wasn't really a solo artist world back then. It was very group-oriented because the history to me is like jazz band, big band, small jazz band, R&B group, big R&B group, smaller R&B group, Motown going into like, because if you look at the Furious Five and all that, that's all Motown sons of stuff, movement, dances, routines, outfits, Five Guys, all with. So back then we was breaking that down a little bit smaller to smaller groups. And in my mind, I'm like, I want to be in a group. You know what I mean? So the question you asked me, when did I think I met the right people that was going to take me somewhere? I would say like in 93, because I'm in Digable Planets. It's me, C, and Mecca. And I met C first. And I knew, like, because of what he was into, and he was already rapping with some groups and stuff and everything, I'm like, yeah, me and him, we could make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And then he knew her. She was from D.C. and he went to Howard, so it was just like, it ain't like, oh, it clicked one day. It kind of did, but more so like you hang with people and y'all talk about music and then y'all go to this thing and then y'all go. And so over time, then you're like, you know what? Let's do something, The first album I had written pretty much in its entirety. before I met them. You feel me? Just because I was like obsessive about that kind of stuff. You feel me? We used to just get together and rap, listen to music. And I was always on some, man, I got this sample, this loop, I'm about to do this and that. That was my whole mind state as the production side of things. And he was like rapping. And then Mac, she wasn't really rapping. And then we was like, you should rap, you should try. And she did a rap. Like her first thing she wrote was like to the Nickel Bag of Funk beat. And it was tough, you know, and we was like, damn, she tough, you know what I mean? Like, it was magical because it kind of came from nowhere, her ability, you know? It was crazy. I'll never forget that. From the time when I thought of it and started doing demos to the time when we went to go record the first album, you're talking like 5-6 years of like thinking about nothing else but that. It was a whirlwind, you feel me? Like, it's like going to the first day of school every day. It's exciting, a little scary, a little nervousness, but always looking forward to the opportunities and also like arriving in these places and looking around being like, damn, like being around people that you once, you know, you aspired to accomplish something close to them and now you with them. So it's abstract and surreal too. It's a dream. It's living a dream. Even to this day, it's like that. You know, the people that I always dug making music and art were people that embraced tomorrow, in the sense that whatever they had done, they was looking to try to do something else. And I think athletics goes into that because your coaches will tell you every day we got to get better. So you got to do something different. You got to learn something that you didn't know the day before. Because you coming in with the same old style, you could get stopped. People know what you're doing. So all of those type of philosophical outlooks, I think, just make it so that, for me, creativity isn't about doing nothing that you already done, you know? I mean, I was in Digable Planets, then I did a group called Cherry Wine, then I did a group called Shabazz Palaces, and then I did a group called Knife Nights. And I also done productions and stuff like that. I mean, it just don't stop. I mean, you know what I mean? You just keep making stuff, you know, because you meet people, you get influenced, you want to try something new, you learn a new instrument, you learn a new drum machine. Everything is flowing and fluid, you know? The cool part about the groups I'm in when we go to Europe is like we always usually travel by bus to all the places we go. So say if we got a 25-city tour, we're going to drive that whole way. So the shit you get to see is just... I'd rather be on tour than anything else. I feel like maybe the people that I come from are somewhat nomadic, and that it's maybe in my DNA to feel comfortable on the move, fulfilling to my nature. Black Constellation is the group of artists, musicians, visual artists, writers, directors, sculptors, but mostly just friends. I'm their people, they're mine, you know, so that's first and foremost, and we all happen to get down in certain artistic ways and collaborate as well. It's worldwide, but it kind of had its incubation here.
Did you go to Music Menu and Beverly's ever to do any
For sure.
record shopping?
I mean, my mom's, from going with my mother to going on my own, yeah, for sure. That's where you had to go. But in terms of just like catering to this particular kind of musical genres and stuff, yeah, that was it. And that was a lot for the size of the city, basically, and basically the size of the hood, too. Like, and they was both doing their thing. The first record I bought was myself was a 1999. I remember bringing it home and I opened it. I think it was that one. but it's the one where he's like laying on his stomach and he ain't got no clothes on and his butt is out a little bit. And I remember opening that up, just being like, "Damn, this boy is wild." But I had to get it from either Beverly's or Music Menu. That's where I got it from.
Did you listen to Fresh Tracks?
No question. No question. K Fox, KKFX with the howl after it, man. Come on. Yeah, for sure. I remember there's a song that changed my life. It's called Up Rock. It's this old B-boy song. And that was the first place I'd ever heard that song. At a breaking competition down at the Seattle Center. Yeah. Up Rock. Changed my life.